Okay. So in our previous session, we completed the financial statements without adjustments. So today, what are we going to learn? How to do the adjustments of the financial statements. So what are the financial statements that you people have for the O levels? It is the statement of profit or loss and statement of financial position, which is the income statement and the balance sheet. So in the previous session, what we studied was how to prepare these financial statements, the basic financial statements. Okay. Today we are going to learn if there are any adjustments. So there are a few adjustments that you have to study for O level. One is the accrued expense. Other one is the accrued income. Other one is the bad debt. Other one is the depreciation. Other one is the closing stock. So these are the adjustments that you people have to study. Okay. So once we are done with studying each and every adjustment one by one, we can move to the preparation of the complete financial statements. Okay, Lama. So I'll explain these adjustments one by one using the questions which is there in the material. So first you should know what is this accrued expense, Lama. Accrued expenses means the past expenses which is not yet paid. So let's take an example here. They are telling annual insurance is 6,000. Company paid only 4,000. Total expense is 6,000. Company has paid insurance, paid only 4,000. Then understand from 6,000, if you have paid only 4,000 lamai, ගෙවලා තියෙන්නේ 4,000 නම් විතරයි. Out of 6,000, 2,000 you have to pay, no? 2,000 insurance to be paid. You should pay. So which is the insurance to be paid? If not insurance payable. Insurance expense payable. ගෙවන්න තියෙන ගාන. ගෙවන්න ඉතුරු වෙලා තියෙන ගාන. ගෙවපු ගාන නෙමෙයි. ගෙවන්න ඉතුරු වෙලා තියෙන ගාන. The amount that you should pay. The amount to be paid. This is what we will call it as accrued expenses. So accrued expenses means lamai, the past expenses which is not yet paid. The past expenses which is not yet paid. So here, I'll just write it inside the brackets. Accrued expenses means past expenses which is not yet paid. තාම ගෙවලා නැහැ. ඔයා තාම ගෙවලා නැහැ. You have not paid it yet. Okay. So here in this question, what are they asking? Record the journal entries and prepare the ledger accounts for the above transactions. So let's do one by one. Let's do one by one. So here, if you take the First transaction. Let's record the cash paid amount lamai. Insurance paid amount. This one. Insurance paid amount. So you know the double entry. If you pay some insurance, if you pay some expenses, what's the double entry lamai? Debit the insurance expense account. Credit the cash account. You paid only 4,000. 4,000. 4,000. So if I prepare the T accounts, you all can do it with me. You all can do it with me. If I prepare the T accounts, if this is the insurance expense, if this is the cash, here I will write 4,000. Here I will write 4,000. Then here you can write the name cash. Here you can write the name insurance expense. But we are not done. We are not done. Now in this question, what you have to understand, from 6,000, only 4,000 is paid. Then to be paid insurance, how much is there? To be paid. To be paid, how much is there? From 6,000, you have paid only 4,000. So to be paid, 2,000 is there. So this 2,000 is what we will call it as accrued insurance expense. Accrued insurance expense, we have to pay it. We have to pay it later. Someday we have to pay. කවදා හරි දවසක ඕක ගෙවන්න ඕනේ ළමයි. කවදා හරි දවසක අපි ඕක ගෙවන්න ඕනේ. We should pay it. Someday we should pay it. So until we pay it, it's a liability for us. So in this particular transaction that I recorded, lamai, what you have to understand, let me use a different color. My insurance expense account is wrong, I would say. Because my expense is not 4,000. Expense is how much, lamai? 6,000. Then already 4,000 dollar. So you have to put another 2,000. 2,000 debited to the insurance expense account. Where are we going to credit it? For which account are we going to credit it? We will call it as accrued insurance expense account. If not insurance expense payable. Insurance expense payable. ගෙවන්න ඕනේ ඔයාලා මේ payable. This is a liability. You have to pay it. So here you can write accrued insurance. Here you can write insurance expense. So what's the double entry that I used to record the accrued insurance, lamai? What is the double entry that I used to record the accrued insurance, lamai? Debited the insurance expense account 2,000. Credited the accrued insurance account 2,000. So in this situation, lamai, this entire 6,000 will go to the statement of profit or loss as insurance expense. Here this 2000 will go to the statement of financial position. ඒ කියන්නේ balance sheet එක. Under current liability. Under current liability. Income statement එකේ 6000 expense එකක් තියෙනවා. Balance sheet එකේ under current liability, you have a liability called insurance expense payable. If not accrued insurance expense, you have to pay that 2000. Until you pay it, it's a liability for you. A liability. So quickly write down this. We'll do question by question, huh? One by one. Not urgent. We'll do one by one. Huh? Okay. Now we'll move to the second one, lamai. Second one. So we have to practice a lot of questions. And only you'll become good in this. Monthly salary 8,000. He has been paid only for 10 months. 10 months. That means lamai for a year 12 months are there. No? So salary paid 8,000 into 10 months means lamai only 80,000. So we'll record the double entry value lamai. We'll put it to the T account. So here you have the salary expense account. Here you have the cash account. Salary expense account 80,000 debit. Cash account 80,000 credit. So here you can write cash. Here you can write salary expense. So what did we do? We debited the salary expense account 80,000. We credited the cash account 80,000. Haridha lamai. Listen, I will give you time to write. Don't write. Now what's happening? This is the only the salary paid, lamai. I told you clearly expense means not only the paid amount. Paid, to be paid, together only total expense. Paid, to be paid. Before this also I have taken the example. Last month I got the electricity bill. 10,000 rupees. I paid only 6,000. Mama give away 6,000. I paid only 6,000. Then if someone asks me, Mahatya, how much is your electricity bill? I will never say 6,000. No? I will say 10,000. My electricity bill is 10,000. My electricity expense is 10,000. 10,000 කියලා තමයි මං කියන්නේ. එකෙන් 6,000 ගෙව්වා. 6,000 paid, 4,000 to be paid. So understand somehow expense means lamai the paid amount to be paid amount together. The amount relevant for the period. Now here in this particular question also salary paid only for 10 months. Salary to be paid 8,000 into 2 months. That means lamai 16,000. So this is what people accrued salary expense. If not salary expense payable. Salary expense payable. Salary expense payable. So people, my salary expense is not only 80,000. 80,000 paid, another 16,000 to be paid. So in total salary expense is 96,000. So මෙතන මේ 16,000 එකක් දාන්න debited. Then we should credit it to which account ළමයි? උඩ එක වගේමයි බලන්න. උඩ එකේ දැන් මේ accrued insurance expense මෙතන දාන්න ඕනේ accrued salary expense. Accrued salary expense. If not, salary expense payable. Payable. Here debit 16,000, here credit 16,000. Why credit? It's a liability. අපි ගෙවන්න ඕනේ. It's a liability. We should pay. Accrued salary. Yeah, salary expense. Then here what you have to understand, this entire 96,000 will go to the income statement as the salary expense. 96,000 to the statement of profit or loss, not the income statement, as salary expense. The 16,000 will go to the statement of financial position. That means the balance sheet under current liability. අපි ගෙවන්න ඕනේ ළමයි. Under current liability. That's all. ලියාගන්න. Okay. Now let's move to the third one, Lamai. A bank loan has been obtained for rupees 50,000 and interest of 12%. Bank interest for 2 months has not been paid. So, Lamai, I'm not going to talk about the transaction which is relevant for the bank loan. Let me talk about the transaction relevant for the interest. Let me talk about the transaction relevant for the interest. Okay. So 50,000 is the loan amount that we took. No? So 50,000 into 12%. So here we are getting a value of 6,000. 50,000, 12%. Can 6,000. So here if I cut two zeros, 500 into 12, 6,000. But 6,000 is the interest for the entire year. Interest paid, bank interest for 2 months, not paid yet. So paid only 10 months, Nelamai. Interest paid 6,000 divided by 12 into 10. That means interest you have paid only 5,000, only for 10 months. So we'll record the interest paid bill. It's simple. The interest paid is simple. Here the interest expense account. Here you have the cash account. Cash account credit 5,000. Interest expense account debit 5,000. Here you can write cash. Here you can write interest expense. So what did we do? Debited the interest expense account 5,000. Credited the cash account 5,000. Don't write, huh? Now let's move to the most important. Expense කියන්නේ ළමයි ගෙවපු ගාන විතරක් නෙමෙයිනේ. Expense means amount relevant for the period. Paid, to be paid, everything. So interest to be paid 6,000 divided by 12 will get you the interest expense for a month. 2 months not yet paid. 6,000 divided by 12 will give you the interest per month. 2 months not yet paid. 2 months. That means lamai 1,000 rupees not yet paid. So this is what? Accrued interest expense. If not interest expense payable. Interest expense payable. Interest to be paid. So this 1,000 not yet paid. So you can't say your expense is only 5,000 because 5,000 is only the paid amount. තව ගෙවන්න 1000ක් තියෙනවා. So total interest expense is 6,000. Then here we debited. Where are we going to credit it? Accrued interest expense. If not interest expense payable. interest expense payable. Given node, we have to pay. Credit 1000. So here you can write accrued interest. Here you can write interest expense. Then what you have to understand, Lamai, this entire 6,000 will go to the statement of profit or loss, if not the income statement, as interest expense. This 1,000 will go to the statement of financial position, balance sheet, under current liability. So write down, people, write down the answer. So in the previous one also, we didn't write the journal entry, no, people. Shall we write the journal entry here? Here did we write? Here we have written it, no? For the previous one also, write the journal entry. Debit the salary expense account, 16,000. Credit the accrued salary expense account, 16,000. If not, salary expense payable, anything. And here also write debit the interest expense account, 1,000. Credit the accrued interest expense account, 1,000. Okay. So with that, we'll write the final note about the accrued expenses. Okay. So here the learning that you should get how to record the accrued expenses. Huh? So accrued expenses means past expense not yet paid. So if the past expense not yet paid, we learn the adjustment. What is the adjustment, Lamai? Always adjustment will go to two places. අපි හැම එකේම තැන් දෙකක දැම්මනේ. Double entries no here. Everything we recorded in two places. Two places. Double entry. Double entry. Increase or record the relevant expense. That means we debited the relevant expense account. Increase or record the relevant liability. So we credited the relevant accrued expense account. Accrued expense means relevant expense payable account. Relevant expense payable account. Electricity expense done, accrued electricity expense. If not electricity expense payable. Insurance not insurance, accrued insurance expense. If not insurance expense payable. That's what you should do. Simple as that. So with that, Lamai, we got the complete idea about the accrued expenses. So accrued expenses means past expenses tama givala netta. So we have to pay it. No? How to do the adjustment in your accounts? One is increase or record the relevant expense. And from other side, increase or record the relevant liability. Debit the expense account, credit the accrued expense account. If not debit the expense account, credit the expense payable account. Payable, a liability. Simple as that. So using this knowledge, now we'll try to attempt the next question. So for the next question, I would say recording the journal entries and writing the journal entries only for the amount expense to be paid part enough. Only that one. ඔක්කොම කරන්න ඕනේ නැහැ. Only the expense amount to be paid, which is the accrued expense part. We'll do only that part. Because that's the learning that you should get. No? Monthly rent for the shop 5,000, only 8 months paid. Only 8 months paid කියන්නේ ළමයි. 4 months to be paid. No? Only 8 months paid means 4 months to be paid. So I'm going to record only the to be paid part. Nah? Because we did a question no? And we got an understanding also. No? So rent to be paid. If not accrued rent expense. If not rent expense payable. Everything is same. How much is that? 5,000. 8 months paid. 8 months paid it seems. That means 4 months not yet paid. 4 months not yet paid. And how much is the amount? 20,000. And what's the journal entry, people? Double entry. Rent expense. Accrued rent expense. Here debit 20,000. Here credit 20,000. That's all. Then the journal entries, debit the rent expense account, 20,000. Credit the accrued rent expense account, 20,000. So here it is increasing the expense, here increasing or recording the liability. Simple as that. Here increasing or recording the liability, here increasing or recording the expense, increasing or recording the liability. Those are the two adjustments that we should do. එක පැත්තෙන් expense එක වැඩි කරන්න, අනිත් පැත්තෙන් liability එක වැඩි කරන්න. එච්චරයි. From one side, you have to increase the expense. From other side, you have to increase the liability. Simple game. Okay. No? Now we'll move to the next one. 18,000 has been paid for the electricity. 3,000 relevant for the month of December, not yet paid. 3,000 not yet paid. Simple, lamai. Now you should be able to write it easily. Yeah? Electricity to be paid, not accrued electricity. Accrued electricity. If not electricity expense payable. Give unknown. How much is that? 3,000. Then debit the electricity expense account 3,000. Credit the accrued electricity expense account 3,000. Electricity expense account debited 3,000. Accrued electricity expense account credited 3,000. Here accrued electricity. Here electricity expense. Simple game. Okay. So now let's move to the next entry. Bank loan has been obtained 80,000 on 1st December 20XX, and interest of 12%. The interest for the month of December has not yet been paid. You have taken the loan in the last month. Yes, you are preparing the accounts as at 31st December 20XX. Last month you have taken the loan. 1 month interest is not yet paid. That month's interest is not yet paid. So you have to take only the 1 month interest. The third one, interest expense to be paid. Accrued interest expense. If not, interest expense payable. 80,000 loan, 12%. 12% means 9,600. But 9,600 is for a year, Lamai. This is the interest for 1 year, but I need for a month. And 9,600 divided by 12. Then for a month, 800. Interest for a month. Because only 1 month interest not yet paid. Only 1 month not yet paid. I think my numbers are correct. Let me check. 80,000 into 12%. 9,600. Yes, correct. So what's the double entry for this 800? Very simple. Debit the interest expense account 800. Credit the accrued interest expense account 800. So we can prepare the T accounts also. Interest expense account debit 800. Accrued interest expense account credit 800. Accrued interest expense. Here, interest expense. Increase the expense, increase the liability. Increase the expense, increase the liability. Dual impact, no, two impacts. Always dual impact should be there. Simple. Okay. Now let's move to the next one. Fourth one. Accrued telephone. Accrued telephone. Not yet paid. So simple no lamay. Debit the telephone expense account 3,000. Credit the accrued telephone expense account 3,000. So telephone expense, accrued telephone expense. Yeah, liability 3,000, 3,000. Here accrued telephone expense. Here telephone expense. Simple people. With that, I'll do the next one also. Because now you know we have practiced lot of questions. This is the purpose of practicing lot of questions. ඔයාට හොඳට වදින්න බොක්කටම වදින්න. Carriage inward. Carriage inward. Carriage inward expenses to be paid. Not yet paid. Very simple. Debit the carriage inward expense account. How much? 2,000. Credit the accrued carriage inwards. Accrued carriage, inward, expense account, liability, 2000. Increase the expense, increase the liability, increase the expense, increase the liability. That's all, Lamai. So 2T accounts, carriage, inwards, accrued, carriage, inwards. 2000, 2000. Increase the expense, increase the liability. Increase the expense, increase the liability. Simple adjustment. අමතක කරන්න එපා. So why am I telling the same thing repeatedly? හොඳට ඔළුවට යනවා එතකොට. Okay, let's do the last one, ළමයි. The last one. Stationery expense 19,000. 5,000 only paid. Then not yet paid. Not yet paid 14,000. So we'll record this 14,000 only. Yeah. Debit the stationery expense account 14,000. Credit the accrued stationery expense. If not stationery expense payable, 14,000. Stationery expense, accrued stationery expense. 14,000. 14,000. Increase the expense, increase the liability. Increase the expense, increase the liability. Yes. Then with that lamai, we are done with one item. We are done with one item. One adjustment is done. Accrued expenses adjustment is done. Okay. So once we study all these five adjustments, we can get into financial statements, the final big questions, huge questions. We can get into the big questions with the adjustments. So here we can write accrued expenses means expense payable. Expense payable. Now let's move to the next one, accrued income. Accrued income කියන්නෙ ළමයි past income not yet received. Past income not yet received. Past income not yet received. Not the main sales income, except for the sales income. Other incomes, like the dividend income, rent income, fixed deposits, වලට හම්බෙන interest income, commission income. If you have those kind of past income not yet received, how to record it, how to do the adjustment is what that we are going to study. So let's take that understanding through the next question, Lamai. We'll get that understanding through the next question. So here, rent income is 12,000. Rent income 12,000 has been received. Received. Received amount only 12,000. Received amount only 12,000. 3,000 not yet received. So if you ask me, how much is my rent income? I will never say 12,000. My total income is 15,000 out of the 12,000 Vitrak received. Before this also, I took this example. We'll assume Janit is there. Janit. Janit's dad has a salary of 5 lakhs. Janit's dad has a salary of 5 lakhs. Last month, in his dad's company, they gave only 4 lakhs to Janit's father. 1 lakh they should give. They have told in another couple of weeks they'll be giving කියලා. හරිද? So if someone asks Janit, what is your dad's salary? He will never say 4 lakhs. Janit will say, my dad's income is 5 lakhs, machan. Out of that 4 lakhs, only last month he received another 1 lakh he should receive, to be received. 1 lakh to be received, to be received. So we are going to learn how to record the to be received portion. But for the first question, we'll record the complete thing. And for the second question, we'll do only the to be record portion, to be received portion. So here we'll do rent income received. Rent income received amount හම්බෙච්ච ගාන 12,000. So double entry is very simple නේ ළමයි. What's the double entry? Cash account will be debited by 12,000. Rent income account will be credited 12,000. Here you can write rent income. Here you can write cash. So the double entry here, debit the cash account 12,000, credit the rent income account 12,000. I will give you time. Now here the thing is, another 3,000 to be received. හම්බෙන්න ඕනේ. We should receive. Receive. We should receive. හම්බෙන්න ඕනේ asset අපිට. හම්බෙන්න තියෙන දේවල් asset. The amount that we should receive asset. The amount that we should pay only liability. We should receive. Rent income to be received. This is what we'll call it as accrued rent income. If not rent income receivable. Rent income receivable. හම්බෙන්න ඕනේවා. හම්බෙන්න ඕනේ. Amount that we should receive. Asset for us. 3,000. So my income is not 12,000. 12,000 received amount only. Another 3,000 to be received. So increase the income by 3,000. From other side, an asset is getting created. What is the asset? Rent income receivable asset. Receivable. හම්බෙන්න ඕනේ. We'll call it as accrued rent income. Debit 3,000. So here we can write rent income. Here we can write accrued rent income. Then here what you have to understand, for your income statement, 15,000 for the statement of profit or loss, if not for the income statement, as rent income. This 3,000 is there. This 3,000 will go to the statement of financial position, if not for the balance sheet. Balance sheet. Under current asset. This is asset. Accrued income is an asset. Asset for us. අපිට හම්බෙන්න ඕනේ සල්ලිනේ. The amount that we should receive. Then what's the journal entry? Debit the accrued rent income account. Credit the rent income account. 3,000. Now you all can write. Okay. Now let's move to the next one. Second, fixed deposit 120,000 at an interest rate of 10%. You have opened it on 1st April and the interest income has been accrued. Accrued means not yet received for the month of December. December 1 not yet received. December 1 not yet received. Okay. So we'll write it over here. 120,000 into 10%. That means 12,000 is the interest income for 1 year. Interest income for 1 year. Okay. Then understand, Lamai. You open the fixed deposit on 1st April. So you open the fixed deposit on 1st April. And you are preparing the accounts on 31st December. ඒ කියන්නේ ළමයි ඔයාට ඒප්‍රිල් month එක, මේ month එක, ජූන් month එක, ජුලයි, ඕගස්ට්, සෙප්ටෙම්බර් ඉඩ මතිනේ. September, October, November, December. 31st December. Then lamai, you are getting the interest because this is the first day that you open the account. Enang eda indan interest then only from this day onwards, so they have to give interest. April 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. They should give interest for 9 months. What are they telling lamai? December not yet given. So April to November, you receive the interest. Interest, income, received. December, interest, income to be received. Not yet received. So received, how many months lamai? Out of 9 months, 1 month not yet received. To be received, 1 month. That means 8 months you have received. 8 months we have received it. Okay. So now we can find out the received amount and the to be received amount. 12,000 is the interest for the entire year. That means for a month it is 1,000. Likewise for 8 months. 8,000. 12,000 is the interest for the entire year to be received 1. That means 1,000. So now we'll record the double entry for the received amount. It's simple. What's the double entry for the received amount? Cash account debited 8,000. Interest income account credited 8,000. Here you can write cash. Here you can write interest income. That is something you already studied. The important adjustment is how to record this 1000 to be received. Interest to be received. If not, we'll call it as interest receivable. Interest income receivable. If not, accrued interest income. Accrued interest income. 1000. So my income is not 8000. That 8000 I received, 1000 other to be received. So my total income is 9000. Metra 1000 danawa. Accrued interest income 1000. Credit 1000, debit 1000. Here accrued interest income. Here interest income. That means lamai, this entire 9000 will go to the income statement as the interest income. 9000 the statement of profit or loss, income state as interest income. This 1000 will go to the statement of financial position, not the balance sheet. It's an asset, we have to receive. To be received under current asset. To be received. Hambenno. Hambenno nesa. So finish it off, Lama. So now we did a question. Based on that learning, we'll construct the note cloud. Okay. In both the situations, what did we do, Lamai? We credited the relevant income. We debited the income receivable because we have to receive it. An asset. That's right. Accrued income. Accrued income means past income not yet received. So what's the adjustment? Two places, no adjustment means two places. One is increase or record. Increase or record the relevant asset. Other one is increase or record the relevant income. From one side increase the asset, from other side increase the income. Simple. So here debit the relevant accrued income account. Accrued income means income receivable. Income receivable account. Credit the relevant income account. Credit the relevant income account. Okay. So there is a small question. We'll do that question and we can move to the other adjustments in the next class. So we'll do these questions and here also people, I'm going to focus only on the income to be received portion, not the complete entry. Income to be received portion. Okay. A shop is rented for 6,000 per month. Rent income relevant only for 8 months has been received in cash. So only for 8 months you have received. That means 4 months not yet received. 4 months not yet received. So we'll do it quickly. Rent income to be received. Not accrued rent income. Accrued rent income, not rent income receivable. Rent income receivable. 8 months you received it. 4 months to be received. 6,000 into 4 months. 24,000. Credit the rent income account 24,000. Debit the accrued rent income account 24,000. Credit 24,000. Debit 24,000. Here rent income. Here accrued rent income. Increase the income, increase the asset. If not increase the asset, increase the income, whatever. Now we'll move to the next one, second one. Money of the business has been deposited in a fixed deposit, 50,000 on 1st May. Interest income 4,000 has been received, while 2,000 is to be received. To be received 2,000. I told you I'm going to focus only on this one, to be received portion. So interest income to be received 2,000. If not interest income receivable. Interest income receivable. If not accrued interest income. 2,000. Credit the interest income account, increase the income, increase the asset. Interest accrued interest income. If not interest income receivable. $2,000. Okay. Now let's move to the third one, Lamai. Only 6,000 has been received out of 8,000. Out of 8,000, only 6,000 received. That means 2,000 to be received. 2,000 to be received. So dividend income to be received. Not dividend income receivable. Accrued dividend income. From 8,000, only 6,000 received blue. Then 2,000 to be received. Then credit the dividend income account 2,000. Debit the accrued dividend income account 2,000. Then the last one, fourth one. Sales commission income 4,000 to be received. To be received. 4,000 to be received. Then simple, I'll write it. Credit sales commission income. Commission income account 4,000. Debit accrued commission income account. Four thousand. 4,000. So as the last summary of what we studied today, we studied two adjustments. One is the accrued expense. Accrued expense, what are the two adjustments that we did? We increased the expense and we increased the current liability, the relevant liability. Okay. Then accrued income we studied. This is the last summary. You all can write down of what we studied today. In the accrued income, what did we do? We increased the relevant income. Since we have to receive it, we increase the relevant current asset. Simple as that. So this is the last summary of what we studied today. 2 adjustments. We completed 2 adjustments. Accrued expenses, increase the expense, debit the expense, increase the current liability, not the liability. Credit the liability. Accrued income, increase the income, that means credit the income, increase the current asset, if not the asset, debit the relevant asset. So with that, we are done with the second adjustment also. So we have to do another 3 more adjustments. We'll focus on those adjustments in our next class. That's it for the day. Bye-bye.